Hello, guys. Well, you already know me. I'm Danny. Um, Today we are going to be talking about um, conceptual art, which is an important part of contemporary art. But specifically, I will talk about a Mexican artist called Ulises Carrion and his work. In a few minutes, you will understand why I choose this artist. In my opinion, is quite important in uh, talking about our context and specifically our course of appreciation of art. So let's get started. He is Ulises Carrion. Ulises Carrion was a writer, visual artist, bookseller, performer, exhibition organizer, an active networker, and I think that he was one of the most fascinating figures in the history of conceptual art in the second part of 20th century. Uh, he's quite interesting to me because um, he developed an interest in analyzing and decomposing systems and structures. And it is also quite interesting due to his ties to his country, Mexico, as I said, which evoked a constitutive discontinuity in his cultural practices. Also, his ambiguous relationship with the idea of the archive and his posthumous legacy that is examined through the lens of contemporary cultural practices. Here in Mexico, we have a very good sample of his work in the Jumex Museum of Contemporary Art. Well, a main characteristic of Carrion's work is his profound reflection on the on the elemental aspects of literature. I think that this author worked with the foundations of the literary genres, specifically with lyric poetry, and also trying to prove the limits of the literary content. In his work, this guy resorted the implementation of text with explicit functions, for example, with the semanticization of language, even the elimination of the alphabet. Additionally, guys, to his artistic activities, he developed and expanded theoretical work, which is quite important to note, as the El Nuevo Arte de Hacer Libros. It's the name of his work from 1975, uh, which was conceived with the object of sheltering the new paths for traditional writers. It had the great influence of many young visual artists in the 20th century, in the second part of the 20th century, and even in the second half of the 70s, Ulises Carrion became one of the most protagonists in the mail art, which is uh, an important part of the conceptual art, whose characteristic is shaped not only by the specific postal items, but also by aspects such as communication, networks, and archiving. He grew up a tendency toward the mail art went hand in hand with his gradual distancing from a limited concept of authorship. I don't know if you know what I mean. also from aesthetic, expensive materials, and commercial art and literature. For this guy, let's say that mail art was kind of a guerrilla strategy, which was an uh, an important effort to fight against the great distributors of art and literature. For him, the postal system was used just as other artists used the canvas or the paper or the wood. For him, it was a medium of distribution, which was quite important because in this way he could control the production and distribution of his own art. In this sense, guys, I choose this art, this piece of art. Sorry, Dear Reader, Don't Read. Dear Reader, Don't Read is part of an important exhibition of Carrion's work that is currently presented in Reina Sofia Museum of Art in Madrid, Spain. Uh, it is considered an important part of the mail art. Uh, this exhibition is called Bookwork Print. Uh, as I said, it was made uh, by Ulises Carrion. In second place, guys, it is important to talk about conceptual art, the context in which this work emerged. So we have to say that the conceptual art has two main stages: the emergency, the emergency which was in the 50s and 60s decade, and also the main period which was in the 60s, 70s. The first one, in the first one, the conceptual art began to emerge as a movement with some artists like Henry Flint, Robert Morris, Ray Johnson. In this early phase, they tried to question traditional art forms and explore new ways to express their own ideas. And also, in the main period, uh, this kind of art became a recognized movement in the society. And artists like Saul Levitt, Joseph Kossut, and Lawrence Weiner became prominent and defined key aspect of the movement of conceptual art, such the emphasis on the ideas over objects and the use of the language in the documentation. Additionally, guys, uh, some main aspects to understand about the conceptual art is that this kind of art prioritizes the idea or the concept over the traditional aesthetic or the material concerns. It is a way of using a wide range of materials and techniques to express their ideas. Uh, for example, they could use everyday objects, text, photographies, videos, performances, and any other kind of materials available to them. Uh, this art encompasses a progressive phenomenon of the materialization, as I said, of the artistic object, where the physical work becomes a mere documentary residue of the true work of art, which is the experience itself, the idea, the concept underlying the object. In this kind of the materialization of the artistic object, the main idea underlying is that the true work of art is not the physical art, the physical object produced by the artist, but rather consists of the concepts of or the ideas that they wanted to share. It is fundamental to understand this last part, not the object, the idea that is that the artist try to share. Um, Broadly speaking, guys, the conceptual art discards any form of referentialism regarding meaning. The conceptual art places the work uh, on the plane of the logical proposition and makes frequent use of the tautology and analytical statements. This, let's say, it is a pragmatical use of the tautology that becomes a kind of provocation or an exercise to make an irony about the art. Uh, let's say that it is a way to return to the interlocutor. In this sense, it is important to say also that the artists are just not concerned in the production of the work itself, but they are trying to participate in the valuation and the interpretation of it. Uh, until this point in the history, the artists they just participated in the production of in the production of their pieces, but not in the uh, let's say in interpretation. They were reduced just to um, craftsman, let's say. So an important part of the conceptual art is that they change this role for the artist. Um, Also, they try to use kind of mathematical logic, linguistic structuralism as a way of deny the physical component of the art. It is important because it helps us to get closer to the experience of art with with the absence of conceptual emptiness. I don't know if you know what I mean. Uh, this kind of art also has an important role because it helps us to form a critical culture, uh, and it has also an intrinsic political value. Finally, guys, about the part of the context of the conceptual art, we have to say that those artists they use it to question and reject uh, any intention of expressiveness and that their work didn't provide any information about the author in question. It is fundamental to understand that the work is nothing more than itself. It is the mere physical presence, and also it is a way to talk directly to the interlocutor. Uh, finally, finally, guys, my personal position about this kind of art and specifically about the work that I choose is that I don't know. I find it as an extremely interesting kind of art. Also, I have to say that I had the opportunity to visit this exposition of Ulises Carrión a couple of years ago in the Jumex Museum of Contemporary Art. Uh, in my opinion, it is quite challenging in the sense that you cannot escape your horizon of comprehension because as you can saw in a couple of slides ago, this piece of art called "Dear Reader, Don't Read" is a kind of provocation for our way to understand the world because as human beings and users of language, we cannot live without using the language in its different phases, and you cannot being in front of a piece and not trying to read it or to interpret it. So it is like a provocation for ourselves. Uh, I think that the use of language in this exposition becomes a very useful tool for interpreting of reality in the sense that carry on invite you to not read. You know, I also think that it in a certain way transforms our identity uh, through the accumulation, organization, in a certain way, systematization of the knowledge and how we can use it. I think that these kind of artistic activities are quite important as strategies to generate an approach to the artistic activity as a vital exercise. And that's all, guys. Thank you so much.